Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. So first off, thank you all so much for thriving on change. That's one of Shopify's culture values, and we're really seeing it live in action today. So yesterday we heard a lot about merchants, and it's really the reason that we're all in this room today is for our merchants. Specifically in the Plus track, we heard how to build for Plus, what we're building for Plus, and how yourselves can build for Plus. And we figured what better way to continue the conversation than to actually get a couple of Plus merchants up on stage and talk through some of their successes, but also realistically some of their challenges in scaling their business. So let's get started. First up, we have Tran. Chris is the lead developer at Plus Merchant 100% Pure. And Chris actually has a really interesting story. He made a career change into software development just 2 years ago and has been working at 100% Pure ever since. And then second, we have Jake. Jake is the CEO and founder of Movement Watches, and he's a self-described serial entrepreneur. He's started 3 e-commerce businesses from startup all the way to profitability. So we're very lucky to have both of them here. So let's get started. So I think everyone here in the room, we all know that starting a business is hard, and we are in a room full of entrepreneurs, and these two are no exception. So to start off, I figured we could kind of have a little bit of a chat about some things that helped these two sustain their success, personally and professionally, when making a big career change, but also when starting a successful e-commerce business. So Jake, let's start with you.
Yeah. Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah.
Dozing out a little bit.
It's all good. It's been a long day. So one thing that helped you personally and professionally when you were starting Movement to help sustain your success?
Yeah. I think personally, professionally, when you have a startup, they're both kind of intertwined. So I think the most important thing, we're based in Los Angeles, kind of chose Los Angeles as a middle point for me and my co-founder. What we've learned, which we really didn't know, is LA, San Francisco, New York, kind of just tech and e-com kind of capitals of the world, and having a network out there. We have Dollar Shave Club on his company, and a handful of others of people who have already done it, have scaled businesses, hundreds of millions of dollars, and having not necessarily the founders, but just people within those organizations that are willing to kind of pay it forward and meet with and grab coffee, lunch, whatever it may be. Has been really a secret to success, because there's only so much you can read and learn about in blogs, podcasts, whatever it may be, but actually talking about 2 people who have gone through an experience and can give you knowledge that's really applicable to your specific scenario, I think is huge. And then just, I guess, more personally is understanding what why you're building your company, right? I mean, there's different ways to scale. I think for us, we've always wanted to scale a business to be a $1 billion company. We'll do between $80 and $90 million this year. It's our 4th year. We're bootstrapped, but we could have easily, changed directions and not invested in growth and maybe, tailed it back a little bit if that was what we wanted. But for us, we want to grow a global brand and a $1 billion brand. And knowing that out the gate has really helped us make decisions rather than just kind of aimlessly saying, oh yeah, that sounds good. Let's make that decision. So.
Yeah, I think your first point touches on something that's very kind of a hot topic in tech right now, which is mentorship. So how would you advise people find a mentor, whether it be someone in your industry or maybe outside of your industry?
Yeah, LinkedIn I think is great. That's how it's worked for me. Or finding people at events like this. I've already had a few individuals come up to me. It's be bold, go up to someone that you admire, and then I think most successful people have the pay it forward mentality because someone has done it for them. So I think LinkedIn referrals, going up at events like this, I try and be pretty clever with some LinkedIn subject lines, and usually it works.
What's your best subject line?
Usually I say man with the master plan, and then I just kind of compliment them a couple times and send them a free watch, and then it gets a cup of coffee. So
Nice. I like that strategy. And Chris, so you made a career change, a pretty significant one, quite recently. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that and what you found helpful?
Yeah. So I was in retail banking. That's a dying industry now, and e-commerce is so much fast-paced and it's so much fun. But for having one personal and one professional thing that probably made our company successful is never give up. you just gotta, keep coding late at night, launch features, and professionally just be humble.
Do you find that that's a mentality that exists within the whole team at 100% Pure?
Oh yes, most definitely. Yeah.
So it's
We're
kinda
like a big
critical.
family.
So you have that alignment around like why you're all there and what you need to do every day to be successful.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Very cool. That's awesome. And so kind of changing gears a little bit, something I'm really curious about from you, Jake, specifically, movement has been around for a few years now, and I'm curious to know how you measure your success. So specifically, like, day one, what was the one metric you really cared about? And now, what's kind of like the one metric you wake up to every morning and are eager to check?
Yeah, I think starting off, it was always focus on growth. I think there's so many areas to get distracted with, and for us, it was like as long as we have revenue coming in, the other problems become a little less important or a little less stressful, more so. I say that's still pretty aligned with what we think about now, like how to find growth. I think now at the scale that we're at, we want to make sure that we don't sacrifice brand with certain marketing tactics. I mean, there's a ton of ways to make money, but not all of them are aligned with kind of how you want your brand to be perceived. We get, inquiries to go on, certain television shows and market, at 50% off, and it will sell 25,000 units, but it's just not to our demo, and it's not really what we want to do. So, still very similar. We look at, profitability metrics closer as you're bigger. Other than that, I mean, we have a more granular look at different marketing channels and like what the return on ad spend is per channel. So just a more granular look and more organized. I think we hired a CMO recently and a senior analytics manager, and they've really helped kind of structure the business so that we use a tool called Looker, which is like a database which consolidates all the data from Shopify and other channels. And now we're just able to be able to look at data and kind of splice and dice that data in a more granular level. So, yeah.
And how do you use that data to inform some of your maybe like go-to-market strategies? Like, how are you using that?
Yeah. I think there's just a ton of learnings, right? Like maybe there's certain channels have, higher AOV, certain channels have people, coming back and purchasing more. We've learned, like using data, we've learned that Q4, our demo shifts to a more gifting demo. So where, throughout the year, we're mostly men. We actually have a lot of women purchasing, but they're purchasing men's products. So it's a gifting demo. So just looking at that, and now, we came out with a gift box in Q4 of last year, and that was kind of predicated on the fact that we knew that there's a gifting demo. If we have something that perfectly sets up for gifts, it'll work great. And I forgot what the percentage of that was. I think it was close to 20% of our sales had some type of gift box element to it. So using data-driven decisions definitely help.
Cool. And Chris, we have a lot of developers in the room as well who work on Shopify. So I'm curious to know, as a developer at a Plus merchant, how are you measuring like your day-to-day success and what you're working on?
Usually, if they respond really fast and willing to work with our internal development team, we usually choose app by that. Okay. Because it's, business needs to run. If support is not always there, then we kind of drop them.
Right. So when it comes to support specifically, like for app developers, that's really important for you.
Yes, this is number one.
Yeah, because you like it to be kind of like a collaborative partnership, not necessarily, a one-way relationship.
That's correct, because there's multiple apps, right? And they do this almost the same thing. So if one app developer is really helpful and is always there for support, we mostly like to go over there with them.
Cool. Did everyone hear that? Support's important. Great. So, Jake, I'm curious to know, so we've talked a little bit how maybe your analytics have changed from day one to now, but can you walk us through how your tech stack, like your full tech stack, has changed from day one to 2017?
I think, so we started on Magento. We left about 3 months after that to Shopify. We got a quote on a website that would have cost $30,000 and got it made for $2,000 on Shopify. So, and then after just doing the research of, I think 4 years ago you had heard so much about Magento just because they've been around for so long, and then, doing the research, it just made sense. So I think from that point on, we kind of learned a lesson of, focus on, like, if we need some type of tech that's really the backbone, such as Shopify, make sure it's something that's scalable. So I mean, a lot of the tech that we have, that's the backbone of the business, Shopify, Google Analytics, those things have been with us since pretty much day one. I think having Shopify allows us to be agile, and we'll do some plug and play apps just to test it and see if it works without being having a heavy integration and having to be committed for a long time, and really evaluating if it's going to be something long term. We just try it and see if it works, and if it works for the time being, great. If not, then kind of offboard it. Other than that, I think as we get bigger, there's just more people in the org, and there's more apps. We're using I think double or triple the apps that we even used to 2 years ago. So it's just using more apps because we have more people in the organization who want to access something, and I think being on Shopify also allows us, again, plug and play, try it out, see if it works and adds value. I think when evaluating, again, a backbone app, it's something that can scale and isn't going to fall down on or crash on more technical term, crash on Black Friday or Q4. 50% of our sales come Q4, so over 3 months, it's just important that we don't have any issues whatsoever. And some apps can't stand that, and I mean that's a big kind of red flag.
And you guys have started selling international quite a bit over the past couple of years. What has that process been like, going from having your North American market to expanding into other markets?
Yeah, we're actually in the process of it right now, so kind of to be determined. I think I'm really hopeful for it. I think that's the cool thing about e-commerce is 50% of our sales come internationally. A lot of the English-speaking countries are big markets, but we ship to over 100 countries on a monthly basis. So having business already, and they're willing to kind of buy into the product and the brand, and regardless of what the experience is with, not having their currency, shipping times, and every other kind of language, et cetera, what's going to happen when we can optimize that experience for them and kind of see where that takes us. So we're really hopeful. I don't think that there's many companies that have done it or have done it, well. So I think for us, we really we're trying to pioneer kind of that area, especially because we already have an international business. It's huge for us. So it's exciting.
Yeah. And Chris, what about 100% Pure? I know that there's been a lot of retail conversations at 100% Pure. You have some physical locations as well. What has the tech stack looked like over the past couple of years that you've been there?
We had to build our own syncing system because we have distributor portal that's mainly for our international customers, and we also have a wholesale channel for US and CA, and just web US, CA, EU, UK is all in separate Shopify Plus instances. And we use one tool, and we build it with ASP.NET, Microsoft SQL, and we just sync all the inventory, all the content management through all website.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what was the experience like building that to using Shopify's APIs?
It's very easy. You guys have a great API.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's great. So Jake, kind of looking a little bit more future focused, what's a commerce trend right now that Movement's excited to leverage? Because we know there's a lot of conversations about VR, AR, there's pop-ups happening. Are there any of those that are kind of piquing the interest?
I don't know. I think AR is interesting for us. We've had some developers kind of send us betas of examples of how it would work. I think for us, I still think that it takes some time for the consumer to get bought into some of these. So right out the gate, I'm not too excited about anything. I like to kind of see how they work. I'm excited about you guys launching. I think it's called Remember Me. I think
Shopify Pay.
Shopify, yep, there we go. I'm excited about that. I think that is, you guys are utilizing your Shopify platform and helping merchants who are on the platform. I think also just us kind of trying to pioneer that international piece. I think it's something that is becoming, as more of the world becomes more connected, gets better devices. As Facebook and Google, they're racing to kind of have a connected world of internet, and I think it allows more opportunity to sell to different countries. And so having a fully localized site experience across the board. And improving shipping times, et cetera, is just going to be huge for companies who only focus on the United States and now have hundreds of countries to market to and sell to. So I think that's where e-commerce is going, and we're really buying into it, ASAP.
Very cool. So I kind of want to switch gears and open it up to the audience to see if we have any questions for our wonderful Plus merchants. I think we have a couple up front here.
There were a lot of announcements made yesterday about new APIs, and you mentioned Shopify payments. Anything else is really exciting you about the new things that are being made available, also in the Plus world?
Well, for me, the new theme tooling is just very. It's going to be a big thing for our team. It's going to speed up development. Also, the store API too. We are looking to have multiple channels to get our products across.
Yeah, I mean, Remember Me was probably the most kind of exciting thing from a high level. I think anything further than that gets more kind of dev focused, maybe a little over my head. I think the exciting thing, though, is, this is what, a 2-year-old event now? Yeah, it's 2 years old. I mean, the Plus team is growing. Shopify is growing. I'm just really excited with the progress that they have made year over year, and how every year you're getting some of those concerns you had or some of those things those asks that you wanted, they're being delivered year over year. And I think we're an $80 million business this year. We started from zero and we've scaled with Shopify, and we see we're really bought into the future of where it's going. And so yeah, I mean, excited to just see that they're continuing to kind of push the boundaries on Plus and just regular Shopify.
So with Movement at about $80 million in revenue, I'm wondering how many people are on your marketing team and what are their roles?
Yeah, we have we've kind of scaled. So we have 25 people in-house. Of that, it's about 20 of them are marketers. We outsource. We then have another 25 people who do customer service that aren't in Los Angeles. We have a third-party fulfillment center, and then we work with a handful of different agencies. Starting off, we wanted, again, the ability to scale in different areas. I think in terms of in-house, I was leading most of the marketing efforts from kind of 0 to 50, 60 million. And then I had, someone running paid social, someone running PR. We have a team of influencer marketers in-house. We have a director of brand and creative who kind of focus on the image, what we post, how emails look, any campaign. And then kind of just get scattered from there. And then we have agencies that focus on the dev or fulfillment. And really just because we wanted to focus on, again, growth. From day one, it was like grow, grow, grow. I didn't want to have to be the best fulfillment center or the best kind of dev agency. I just wanted to be the best brand and produce the best product. And focusing that really close to the chest in-house has helped, worry less. We may be paying a little bit of a premium, but I think that goes so much further in just where the growth has gone in 4 years. Again, we haven't raised any money. We did Indiegogo and had $300,000, but since then it's just been, kind of grow as fast as we possibly can and while remaining profitable. So it's a story that I haven't really heard, not coming from a business world. I dropped out of college. I'm 25 right now. Now talking to the Dollar Shave Clubs and the Honest and so many other big companies, it's not a story that you hear of fast growth companies being profitable. And I think, again, structuring the org as more marketers and brand and product, like really what the heart and soul is of the business, and then leaning on partners like Shopify or 3PLs or agencies to kind of help you get to the next level is important. And then the marketing side of it, it's better to keep it inside because marketing is always changing. It used to be AdWords, now it's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat's coming, what's next? If you have marketers in-house, you can pivot and navigate where sometimes agencies just move too slow in the marketing side of things. So
I think we have a question over here.
Hello. Hi, you talked about making different business decisions based on the analytics and marketing channels. But there are so many analytics and so many marketing channels out there. How do you make sure these decisions can keep to your scale or even help you grow to a bigger scale? How do you make sure that happens?
So how are you using different analytics and marketing channels and making decisions based on the data that will actually be scalable decisions long term?
yeah, That's a good question. It's kind of like attribution and trying to figure that out. You're always going to have an issue with it. I think it depends on what your product is, but I try and look at, so there's prospecting, there's retargeting. I try and look at prospecting in channel by channel and actually look at the analytics by the channel, because retargeting is taking credit for all marketing efforts. People are coming from free, from Google, from Facebook, and retargeting is just getting them on the way in, and it may be view-throughs. I try and look at click-throughs. I try and look at it by channel by channel. You also know that the paid social, typically, depending on what your product is where most of the revenue is coming from. In some cases, it is, SEM and Google and Bing and whatnot, but for most like brands, I hear that the social or influencers. In terms of like if there's not an analytics tool, we either tend to use UTMs or discount codes. Discount codes I think are the most accurate. We also, talking about more data, we have a post-purchase survey, so we can then see as an aggregated whole like what percentage of people said they came in through this channel. Just so we know, so we don't see any discrepancies. I think it's still the safest to go after using like discount codes, looking channel by channel. It's a hard problem to solve though. There's no silver bullet. You really have to just kind of analyze it, use your best judgment. I don't know if you talk more like detailed of like what you're dealing with, what channels you're spending, I could probably give you more narrowed advice. I tend to stay away from some of the display stuff on Google. It takes credit for, especially view-throughs. Like a lot of times we'll look at stuff. You'll use a vendor. You'll see, it'll say the CPA is great. Then you'll say, okay, remove all view-throughs. What's the CPA? It ends up being hundreds of dollars. I stay away from that. I think the channels that show progress and efficiency on click-through conversions that aren't retargeting are typically where you want to stick to. And it's new. It's new traffic. It's not someone who's come in already. So we can talk more though if you have questions.
Chris, anything to add on that?
No.
Cool.
But we use multiple agency for retargeting. Shoelace has been really great on retargeting. They're really transparent, and their support is awesome. And yeah, attribution is really hard to. You have to look at multiple tools, multiple dashboards just to compare each other. Yeah. And we use we store all Shopify information into our database and show it with Sisense and compare it with Google Analytics.
Okay, so it's fairly manual.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
yeah, it's very manual, but we pull all the data in, and our dev team does a custom dashboard that we compare with our Google Analytics too. Yeah.
Yes, next question.
I actually have a Shopify kind of question. So with the new discount API and like there was one slide that had what looked like some analytics. Is there actually going to be a way in reports to see what orders came from discount codes, or like which discount code is it like tied to an order? Because right now, if you look at reports, you don't see anything about discount codes, so you have to like manually kind of piece it together. I was just wondering if that's something that's in process or going to be released. Or.
So my understanding is that will be part of the new discount reporting, that you will be able to have that attribution. But I can also get you to chat with someone else from the Plus team after this who can probably go into a bit more granularity on that. Any other questions? Oh, we have one over here.
Thank you. So I was wondering for both of you, what criteria do you use when evaluating apps to determine which one you're going to actually install and use long term? Besides customer service, because I know that that's important. You had mentioned it.
Yeah. For our team, we try to install multiple apps that does similar jobs, and we just evaluate by, like if they have reporting, that's also another good thing. Their own dashboard and of course customer service. Yeah.
You said, how do you evaluate apps?
Yeah.
It's hard. I think what we've typically do is, I get 10 emails a day from different providers on apps. I think it tends to be validation of what references do you work with, right? Like what other companies similar to us do you already work with? And if they don't, it really is hard, because people will often sell what their product can do, but there's always bugs and issues, which is understandable. But we get so many like cold calls that it's really hard to evaluate unless there's someone else that's using it, and unless I can talk to them and they have good things to say. I mean, it is tough. Other than that, we'll do our research and do what we can, but even when doing that, it's really hard to like paint a picture of what it'll actually be like, what the integration timeline is going to be like. You know, is it going to be able to scale with us unless there's already a merchant that has used it.
Okay, cool.
I also want to add the Shopify Plus community Facebook is a really good way for our team to ask and other merchants see what is a successful app.
Yeah, there's some really good conversation in there. Okay, I think this will be our last question.
Great, thanks for the talk. I wanted to get your perspective on the different social platforms out there, so Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and your thoughts on those three and how it's impacting your business.
I'm not really a fan of Snapchat. I like it. I use it. I'm not a fan of the like it as a kind of a social channel for acquisition. I think if you got on early, you might have found some success, but it's hard to discover users. It's hard to share, tag, et cetera. I think Facebook's done a great job at mimicking what their offering is with a bigger user base that they already have. I think I just saw a metric that they've already kind of passed Snapchat's daily users. You can already spend, you already have power editors to go and place ads within Instagram stories. So I'm not really a huge fan in terms of like investing in it. I don't know where it's going to be in 2 years from now. And Facebook, Instagram, it's here. It's been around. They have other data sources too, so that if you use Facebook to spend advertising dollars, they have all these different data points of things you've purchased. They have pixels on millions of sites versus Snapchat. All they have is kind of basic broad demo targeting right now. It's location, it's age, it's what you clicked on, but I don't really see the vision of where it's going. I think it would have been great if they sold to Facebook, but at this point, it's not something I would suggest investing in. The only caveat is if you want to make something super exclusive. I know like some the sneakerheads out there love to keep it like really exclusive. We're gonna post on Snapchat an exclusive giveaway. You have to, or like a release date. Those are areas where I think it could be really cool. But I'm still not bought into Snapchat being like the best place to do that. I'd rather have a special code you had to type into my website and push traffic to my site or something along the lines of that than invest more in Snapchat.
I also agree with Jake. Snapchat is really, really hard to track. You don't know the conversion value of Snapchat. Yeah, but we use Facebook and Instagram heavily.
Awesome. All right, well, that's a wrap for the Plus Merchant panel. Thank you all so much for being here and asking some great questions. And thank you too.